Welcome back, everybody, to the LEC Experts panel. And right now, those experts are Vedius and Yamato Cannon. Welcome, gentlemen. Straight off the cast for you, Andy, but I'm sure you'll shine your light on our next matchup. It is G2 Esports versus Schalke 04. And let's just get it out of the way, okay? Schalke could beat G2 after what's happening today.
Right? It feels like the day of upsets based on what we're seeing right now.
Odds are heavily in their favor. They have 100% win ratio this season, so, that's what it is.
Yeah.
The facts.
That is what it is. So we just wanted to get that out there, but what I really wanted to talk to you all about is MVP, because the MVP voting will be kicking off after this week, and then we will announce it, of course, in the next couple of weeks. And I wanted to look at who could be possible candidates coming out of that stacked G2 Esports roster.
Well, I think the first one for me has to be PERKZ. I think this is a player that for a very long time hasn't had one, but when you think about his impact that he's had over the course of the many years that he's been a part of G2, it's undeniable to recognize the amount of growth that he's made and the consistent impact that he has. And when we think about MVPs, obviously it's a very subjective subject. Many people have different criteria for what makes an MVP. And for me, one of the best examples has always been, if you remove this player from a team, does that team still look the same? And when you think back and you look at these G2 rosters, PERKZ is a player that, if G2 would not have the same success that they've currently had if he did not exist. Worlds 2018 was pretty much him and the Wunder show. So the fact that he hasn't even been able to achieve an MVP status yet is still the question on many people's minds.
I unmuted the wrong thing. The fact that he played AD carry the whole year last year and coming back into mid lane is absolutely crazy to me. And obviously, he wants to pick up the slack on the champions that were played last year. He's playing a lot of Akali when it's not necessarily meta. He played Sylas when it's not necessarily meta in mid lane unless you're playing in the LPL. The fact that he's analyzing the champions that he didn't play, taking some of that information from Cap, sprinkling that over his old gameplay that is tried and true. It's just crazy to me that you have a player that can just plug and play in such a way after playing AD carry for a whole year. Is just super impressive.
Yeah, I mean, it's been mentioned before, but the fact that he hasn't gotten an MVP in his career is really mind-blowing if you now look back on everything that lineup and he in particular has achieved. But I think there he's also suffering from the fact that, especially in this G2 Esports, he is just surrounded with so many amazing players that could all very well be in the running for it.
Yeah, I think that's the problem with G2. They seem to just keep accruing talent, and PERKZ has this habit of always playing with very talented players. Like, in his first year, it was Trick. There was the 2-time MVP. It was him plus his jungler. And then we look back at last year, Caps, the former mid laner of G2, into then Jankos. The fact that there have been so many talented players alongside him, it's been very difficult for him to really shine. And I think that what he has done so well this split is been able to demonstrate some of the differences between him and Caps as mid laners, where I feel like you get a lot more consistency from PERKZ. I feel like he demonstrates a lot more thought and precision in a lot of the movements and plays that he makes around the map, and I think that he's making a strong case for himself this split to finally stand out amongst the G2 players as one of the MVP frontrunners.
I think if anyone that comes to mind next to PERKZ and is obviously, like, it's my candidate on G2, honestly, is just Jankos. Jankos to me always, he set the seed of doubt in my mind last year because of the Kiana play, but honestly coming back to this year, always when he plays against the players that I consider, up there with him, maybe Zerx is self-made, he always shows why he's so much better. Always at the right place of the map. Always ahead of the curve in terms of what he needs to play in terms of champions, always ahead of the curve in terms of pathings, and on top of that, he's mechanically so good. We've had junglers that have been around for quite some time and then they're turning into more cerebral players, but Jankos is mechanically insane still, which is super impressive considering how long Jankos' career has been.
Yeah, that is absolutely true. Of course, last year it was Caps and Jankos that got the MVPs respectively for G2 Esports, and you can't deny just how important he's been specifically, I think, in this split for G2, Vedi.
Yeah, I think it's really difficult because it's him and PERKZ together that I think is a large part of what makes G2 so successful. You've seen some crazy trash from this team, you've seen some pretty all over the place strategies, but these two players are always so consistent, and Jankos specifically is just like the early game god. You only have to look at some of his stats, and if you think about how much G2 as a team fight, and then you look at his kill participation, he's at 78% of 15. He's involved in so much of the early game action because he is the one setting it up. He is the enabler for this team, and the fact that he's able to do that for a squad of hungry, bloodthirsty players just goes to show how much of an impact this man has on our league.
Well, we're very close to Schalke versus G2, and just to be clear for anyone listening, we're talking about the MVP candidates on G2. Of course, there's many people on other teams that are also in the running. Since we only have a minute before we get into the game, I want you to make a choice, analysts. If you'd had to pick between PERKZ and Jankos for an MVP, where would your vote go?
It's so difficult because I think both of them they are the best player in their position in the LEC. But I have to give it to Jankos because of the gap between him and the person that is behind him, which is self-made. So I think just Jankos consistently super, super good, super, super impressive, always ahead of the curve. Gotta give it to my Polish man.
See, it's super difficult for me, and I reckon I'm going to flip-flop so much on my decision around this, but right now I think I'm aligned with Yamato. Jankos is the person that immediately comes to mind for me right now, and it's just because I agree with Yamato of how much of a cut above the other junglers he is, but the fact that he's continuing to innovate, the fact that he's having so much presence in every single game that you play, I think that it is too difficult not to look at this man and see how much he is shining and how much he makes G2 just a better team overall.
Well, we'll see what happens. I think you've set these two up perfectly to now play the worst game of their entire split, because that's how caster curses go. We're going to have a quick break, but then we're going to dive straight into that game. We'll soon see if Jankos and PERKZ in action as G2 looks to secure their first seed with a win over Schalke 04.
This is my creed. The boots that make me faster. The items that make me stronger. The potions that I drink. I get the best to be more powerful, so my champion rises to the top. But all this leveling up means nothing if I don't level up myself. It's the healthy potions I drink in real life that make me stronger. Because you can only rule the game when you realize you are your most important champion. To play like a pro, eat like a pro.
Hello and welcome back to the online edition of the LEC. I'm Daniel Jankos, joined by Christy Ender Frierson for the greatest matchup we will ever cast, and that is Schalke 04 versus G2 Esports.
Honestly, this matchup, you say it's going to be a great matchup. I think this is super one-sided, honestly, Dracos. Like, it has been so long since we've seen this matchup go the other way, but honestly, I've been counting the days, and it has been so long since G2 has been able to pick up a win against Schalke. 248 days, I believe.
58 days, Ender. 258
That's even
days
more than I thought. That's way worse.
Exactly. Since G2 Esports beat Schalke 04. And you know what, folks? That might sound crazy, right? But it's been only 144 days since G2 beat SKT. So I ask you, who's the better opponent, really? Schalke 04 or SKT? I think we all know who the underdogs are in this matchup. And they might just be on the blue side. And they're banning Aphelios, Gragas, Ornn. We've also got the Pantheon, the Karthus, and the Syndra coming in from the side of potential favorites, Schalke 04, and an instant first pick Senna on patch 10.6.
Alright, so Senna, even after the nerfs, which have effectively reduced the AD she gets from her souls by 25%, still worthy of a first pick. Now, in our first two games of the day, we saw a whole lot of ADC bans. I think we saw 4 in game 1, 3 in game 2. This time, not quite as hard with the bans thrown that direction. But now my question is, do G2 actually want to keep playing the funneling Senna that they've done in the past, or is this going to be like a true ADC Senna that keeps farming, or is it going to be support Senna? There's a lot of different variables to keep in mind with that one.
And something that Schalke have to be painfully aware of too, because G2 were not only playing fasting Senna, but they were got some of the guys playing the most creative picks in solo queue. Maybe that carried over to scrims as well. And the Ziggs now coming in for Schalke. Good setup on the bottom side. Innaxe we know is a very solid mage player. An important note, if you've been out of the loop, Gilius is now playing again for Schalke 04. So, you know, we might get some trash talk. We might get some explosive early game. I'm ready to see what Gilius can do.
Yeah, I mean, I like it here, going for the very early Lee Sin as well. Now a Kalista pick on the side of G2. This could be a Kalista Senna bot lane, but that feels weird to me. I think it's probably going to be up in the top lane for Wunder here, something that's been taking solo queue by storm, but dominates in just about every single matchup.
I love it because it's been taking solo queue by storm, but its win rate is abysmal right now. It's in like the low 40s on patch 10.5. Maybe it got better on 10.6.
Yeah, that's because it's a bunch of like Maokai and Set players trying to play Kalista. Like, what?
They've never had to click that many times in their life. They have no idea what they're doing. But we'll have to see what Wunder can do. And the thing that I love about this is that, like, if I look at Schalke, their strongest player in my mind is Odoamne, and Wunder's still like, whatever. I'll take this pick. I'll dominate lane on it. I'll be a monster. Could still technically go bottom, but I think you're right. I think we're seeing the Wunder Kalista top.
Yeah, but like, how do you even beat Kalista top lane? Like, it feels like you just need the better jungler, and I don't know, like, Gilius coming back in here up against Jankos, that's going to be a pretty tall order to fill here, especially when Jankos is going to be on the rec side, so Odoamne is going to have to dig deep, otherwise it is not going to look very good at all. Now circling back to the pick of the Ziggs, you mentioned Innaxe, great, you know, mage bot lane player. I remember at Worlds when he was playing in Unicorns of Love, he drew Heimerdinger bans in basically every single game, so I'm at least excited to see him go back to one of these, you know, mage picks that he was so well known for in 2019.
And look, on 10.5, the tower play gold is higher, so Ziggs shredding through towers early game is a big reality of this pick, right? Especially when there's only 1 or 2 plates remaining. I want to see what Innaxe can do, because outside of Odoamne, Innaxe is kind of the other guy that I look at, and the Caps Mikyx bottom lane, while it can be incredibly explosive, is volatile. It's explosive both ways, and going up against Ziggs definitely is going to just further accentuate that. But the LeBlanc, the Corki, now the set band away as well.
Yeah, definitely leans towards Caps and Mickey doing very well, but every once in a while they gotta toss a bit of int in that one, so we'll see what we get this time. Now, an Azir here on the side of Schalke is setting them up with a ton of teamfight damage later on in the game, and now they're gonna have to fill out top lane with something that's like super AD heavy, right? Because right now all you have for physical damage is going to be the Lee Sin. Like, trying to think of what's left on the table, like a Renekton's up there, but you don't want to run that into
no, it can't be a melee champion. You can't play a melee champion into Kalista. It's like literally the dumbest decision you can possibly make. Who's left?
I mean, like,
question.
In theory, like, there's like a Kennen you could go for, Illusion. Neither of those champions, like, I super love. Like, Jace is still open. If they wanted to pair that next to a Ziggs, go for a little bit of poke options with that one. Could be fun.
Jace option. And now we have the Galio locked in as well. Potentially the farming Galio alongside the fasting Senna. We'll have to see what G2's plan is. Important to note as well, of course, that if this Akali does get locked in, we've also seen the Senna-Akali bot lane pairing. Time to find out exactly how they want to focus on this one.
All right. Okay, so now with the Akali locked in, that's like almost certainly going to be run in the mid lane up against this Azir, which I think is a good pick, especially if you're taking over once she does get a couple of items underneath her belt. To me, this is reading as Senna Galio bot lane with the Kalista up top side, and then the only question left for G2 is like, are you actually going to do the fasting Senna or not? Because I'm more inclined to believe on this patch, fasting Senna, her power did get reduced, but then again, like, Mikyx was one of the guys that's like, hey, let's run the Galio next to the fasting Senna, because he can farm really easily with Q2.
But Ender, before we talk about that, I gotta give you props. The Jace pick does come through for Schalke No Fear, so good prediction there. We're running out of ranged AD top champs, so I feel like your selections were limited, but well predicted nonetheless. And now we have a Senna, Galio bot side. We're gonna have to wait to get in game, though, to really see who is farming, but I agree with you. Like, I think with the soul rate dropping, with getting less from souls, Senna needs that money, or she has to build, like, support, not this lethality stuff, and I think support Senna is pretty terrible.
Yeah, I don't want to see any Athenes in my games on the Senna. Get that noise out of here. But I do actually, like, honestly, like, G2 have some, you know, the super lane dominant top lane, or like Jankos, Wunder are going to try to take over this game. But if it goes late, Schalke have really strong poke tools, really good disengage as well. G2 do not have the ability to force fights very easily. So I would say that if Schalke can, like, keep it in and, like, not let the side lanes go haywire up against this Kalista, like, they have a pretty solid comp, I feel like.
Look, I actually have a lot of faith in Schalke. I don't really have a lot of faith in anyone against G2 Esports, but overall it's going to be a hype matchup. Have to see who comes out on top, G2 Esports versus Schalke No Fear. And Ender, as we enter the Rift for G2 versus Schalke, I want to bring back to our minds that important point that we made here earlier. 258 days since G2 beat Schalke. Schalke out of playoffs. If G2 lose here, they're not going to get another chance until summer split, Ender.
Oh my god, dude, it might be.
Can their pride handle it?
I don't think it can. Like, that's just going to destroy G2's mental before playoffs even starts. Like, how do you have the mental edge against a team like Fnatic who just goes around and bullies teams like Schalke all the time if you can't beat them in an entire year?
I just think that there's nothing to be done. And of course for G2 Esports, they're playing for first place. You know, they need to find everyone that they can to kind of stay ahead of the pack. Obviously, OG and Fnatic hungry on their heels. And if G2 somehow find themselves in an 0-2 week, we could see a big shift in the standings. And already now we have the terror of Gilius back on the Rift. Frankly, I don't know what to expect. I was underwhelmed last time we saw him, Ender. I think it's safe to say, but I don't want to blame that on Gilius because the entire roster was a bit of a mess. We'll have to hold that. There's some early aggressive trading here. Odoamne is not going to win that one. My god, that's a lot of level 1 damage. That's absurd.
At level 1, you're not going to have any fun in this matchup. I think if you can recall on a serrated Dirk, maybe you've got a chance if you can get your jungler up there. But again, I think Jankos is just going to try to split the map, and G2 already have the deep vision trying to make that happen. But I would like to bring us back to Gilius, because you say you don't know what to expect. I say Schalke came into this game and came into the back half of the season with a plan, right? The season obviously started off terribly for Schalke, right? Nothing was going well. They couldn't pick up wins, except against G2. They determined, you know, playoffs, that's pretty cool. But you know what's cooler than playoffs? Beating a world's finalist. Not a world champion, a world finalist. That's way cooler. And what are G2's weaknesses?
Okay.
Bot lane.
I'm with you.
And wildcard teams. Now, here's the thing. Schalke can't get 5 imports from wildcard regions. They can only get 2. So what do? They bring in an imported bot laner, Innaxe, formerly from the, from the
LCL.
The LCL. I was like, why am I forgetting this one? Go. Exactly, perfect. And they bring him in a bot laner. Who's just going to take over this game against Caps? What can G2 do?
Not a whole lot, which seems to be a similar story for Gilius as he gets bullied there. Although we take a look at the bot side trade, Mikyx going to get knocked very low. Ignite coming out, but he is going to be able to walk that one off. And you said it, Ender. Innaxe, the terror from the LCL, here to shut down the G2 bottom lane. has to be the most hard force narrative I've ever heard in my life, by the way.
Yeah, but it goes deeper too, because like G2, they struggled against the Gigabyte Marines, who played, you know, wacky bot lane champions like the Nocturne. You know what's wacky? Ziggs. Like, is Caps even going to expect it? I don't know. I don't think so.
How deep into the mind games Schalke must be to counter out their opponents. But as we check in across the map, we can't see it is the fasting Senna ender. Cap's not going to be getting a lot of resources. And as you can see, Mikyx isn't either, because he's already down 10 CS. He's asking for scraps. He says, please, Mr. Ziggs, please, sir, may I have another CS? Caps, though, might just be giving up his life on that one. Is going to have to make his way out to safety. Very close exchange, but a bit of stealth there from the Black Mist will ferry him out.
I mean, in all seriousness, I really like the Ziggs pick up against Senna. I think Senna has a really tough time getting, like, control over minion waves. Like, her only wave clear tool is her Q, and that's not going to be super reliable, so Ziggs can, like, go for this early reset, like we saw Innaxe move for here. But also, I wonder if he's thinking, well, Senna actually locks herself in place whenever she goes for an auto attack. So that just means, like, really easy bombs to land if you're timing it with her going for last hits. So, I don't know. I think there's a lot of good things to be said about that one.
Easy bombs, easy Qs, of course, double Dorans, and potentially more AP to come through from Mikyx may balance out some of that lane pressure. Winds of War can do a decent amount of damage, but for now, very much Schalke favored. Abbedagge also bullying in the mid lane, kind of as expected in any Akali matchup pre-6, at least range versus melee. So, Ender, top lane may look terrible. That's a 20 CS deficit, I'm not gonna lie. That, you leave that lane behind. There's nothing left up there for anybody but Wunder. But on the other hand, the rest of the lanes, doing just fine.
Well, it's very clear that the Jace is not a lane counter pick to the Kalista, at least yet. He had to go back very early with Jankos making the invade play onto Gilius and sort of zoning him away from that side of the map. But like, now we are in a situation where Jankos can just look for a dive up against this guy, or just force him away from the tower, because I think that that's pretty much what you're trying to do with this Kalista, is just make sure you can deny as much CS, as much gold from the enemy top laner as possible.
Once again, 10-5, tower plate gold is increased back up to 160, so a lot of money to be grabbed here from Wunder. And I want to say, your comment like, hey, it's not a lane counter yet. When you're down 30 CS, do you ever really get the chance?
I don't think it will ever be a lane counter.
You're never going to be a lane counter if you can't farm, unless you have some ludicrous, like, Kane-esque power spike where you get to transform into a different champion.
Yeah, I'm telling you, the best counter pick to Kalista top is just having a jungler, you know? And that just sits there, literally never leaves the lane. Like, you just gotta get up there, level 2, level 3, put her down, make her TP back, kill her again. Like, otherwise, she can just push up with impunity.
Ooh, good damage going into Mikyx, but he's feeling frisky, wants to go back in for that trade. Meanwhile, the top lane, Wunder continuing to do a lot of damage. Jankos gonna fish for this one. The flash through, now Jankos trying to finish it off, but I think he might just have to give up his life.
Dude.
The pullback, though, level 6, coming in clutch. Wunder. So disrespectful. I cannot believe they got away with that.
Wait, they can actually turret dive so well. When Rek'Sai hits level 6, Jankos is going to be able to drop tower aggro twice over with his own ult, plus the Kalista ulti as well. Like, oh man, it's brutal. And you can already see it. It's going to be the Sanguine Blade Rush out of Wunder as well for the lethality, the attack speed, the lifesteal. Like, it's the ultimate 1v1 item in the top lane. And just watching this replay one more time, right? Like, it looks dire for Jankos. He's like, yeah, he gives up his life. Everyone got fooled. All of a sudden, he gets yoinked straight out of there, thanks to that Kalista ulti tied to her jungler. So, top lane, it's looking pretty over.
My man Odoamne in the top lane just bought a coal. He's gotten 20 farm in the last 7 minutes.
Wait.
He bought a coal.
Wait
that
a second, dude.
I'm with you. Like, you probably just can't buy anything else, if we're completely honest. A little bit of extra lifesteal, like, that's all you can do is kind of weather the storm.
Yeah,
but
yeah. Well, he's like, he needs, bonus gold any way he can, right? The problem is, I don't actually think he's gonna have 100 CS until like 25 minutes.
Oh, but luckily, there is some value here to top side. He has given experience over to Gilius, who now outlevels him. You love to see it, folks.
Yeah,
so,
you know what you don't love to see, though, is Wunder setting up a freeze against the flashless Jace that's 2 levels down.
Yeah. No, I have to imagine that this is the worst game. I thought Odoamne would hate playing tanks, but this is significantly worse. This is the true nightmare state. And now Gilius is going to be in trouble. The smite can come out. The can go there too. He's going to dash through. Gilius is going to try to kick back, but there's nothing left for him. Gilius goes down.
This is just mean. This is actually just mean. G2 with a second rotation Kalista pick, and they're just absolutely dumpstering up here right now. Like, if I'm just looking at the gold difference across all the lanes, like, Oh, Schalke, they've got an advantage down bot side, right? Senna's not really farming, so like that's unfair, but Odoamne looks like he's playing fasting Jace in the top lane in this matchup, and that's just not part of the plan.
Yeah, this is a little bit grim. PERKZ is going to get knocked back, so Abbedagge is hoping for something, but the dash back through comes in, and PERKZ will finish this one out, but does get the flash advantage. Big set of ult. Oh, and that is team play right there from G2 Esports.
That's just sick. G2, all over the map, all the time. I mean, came in as heavy underdogs in this matchup, but I think they might just be able to turn it around, Jankos.
Look, man, all I'm saying is, yeah, we may have read the situation wrong. 258 days may have been the perfect amount of days.
Oh. Stop shopping,
Gilius. Through. The flash, the Q. Gilius right back on the stage. PERK's biggest weakness. Players from wildcard regions. The TCL time has done Gilius well. Still going to make his way out of this one. The Ignite's ticking, but it won't take him out yet. He's going to be able to walk his way out of that one.
Meanwhile, up top lane, there's a Rift Herald down, and the first top lane tower has already died. This is a situation where I wonder if Odoamne is like, can you actually please just take my inhibitor? That way at least I'm like forced to get some minions.
And this is just going to go from bad to worse. Maybe they can get something done bot lane, but Mikyx just going to walk that one off, and that's a level 6 Jace. It's hard because we have to keep talking about it, but it's like doing a newscast about a train wreck, you know what I mean? Like, we need to talk about it.
Why am I laughing?
It's our job to talk about it, but no one, like, there's nothing else to say. It's a train wreck. Like, I don't have any updates for you. It's getting worse.
It's just bad.
The CS discrepancy keeps growing. The coal is not getting very many stacks. This is a dark timeline, Ender.
Yeah, right now it's Sanguine Blade plus completed boots against 2 longsword and a coal. And that's how you cast it. You just keep updating people on how vast the gap is. You know, people talked about the gap shrinking for so many years, but I'm telling you, top gap is just huge this game.
The gap between Kalista and any other top laner seems to be the gap that people need to be more worried about if the LPL and this Wunder performance are any indication.
Okay, but like, I sort of want to see a Wunder versus the Shy Kalista 1v1.
That would be so boring.
Yeah, wait, no, but here's the thing. Do you know how skill is determined in the Kalista 1v1?
Is it when you rend?
Yes, but it's do you rend before you have lethal? Because if you do, you instantly lose the 1v1. Because the other person just keeps stacking. They're like, oh, I see exactly how much damage your rend did. Oh,
that sounds about as exciting as the Yuumi 1-for-alls that people have been playing. Like, Yuumi versus Yuumi 1-for-all, that's what that sounds like to me, Ender.
Wait, but the Yuumi Cruiser is actually so sweet. We just have one Yuumi hop in the other.
You're absolutely out of control, Ender.
See, no, I actually remember, though, I had a long debate about this back on the playtest team, because, you know, that's what we did with our time. When you have Yuumis in 1-for-all, does, like, one hop into one, and then, so, like, one hops into two, or sorry. One hops into, or sorry, 2 hops into 1. Does 3 hop into 2, or does 3 hop into 1? You know, like, which direction does it go?
You gotta split it up, just like Odoamne is gonna get split from his life, right back into the fountain. That one happened a little bit too fast for me to add, and I don't have an answer for you, Ender. And it looks like they don't have an answer to this Kalista either, although Innaxe, good knockback. I gotta say, the Schalke bot lane, if you look at it in isolation, having a great time down here, because now the Kalista's in trouble. It's gonna get healed up and zoomed out by the fasting Senna. Caps will make it just in time, but still, G2, more than 3k up, approaching 4k now, as they start to collect farm across the map.
Oh, the chase blink! Look at the TP!
Oh, they hit the hook, she's dead, they got him! Man down, Gilius with the shutdown. It's everything that they need, and Caps is just next on the menu. They're murdering G2. It's happening, Ender. The underdogs, G2, are getting decimated by the might of Schalke.
Everything going as expected here. Actually, that was like a sweet play from Odoamne. He is getting absolutely murdered in the top lane. First it was against Wunder, second it was against PERKZ. He's like, hey, let me just get down there. Absolutely get that shutdown kill on over towards him.
All right.
And he didn't even lose an inhibitor for it. What a trade.
After that play, we abandoned the meme narrative. Today has been a day of upsets, and after a play like this, I think Schalke could actually be in it, because when you see this kick come through from Gilius, the follow-up's there, second Kalista's locked down, she dies, and now Schalke feel like they're right back in the game.
Yeah, I mean, they're able to chase down for a lot. I still don't know if they're right back in the game, right? Like, again, Kalista, whoever she matches against, she's going to have a 1,500 gold lead minimum, right? She is riding on so much gold at the moment. But again, like, Schalke's team isn't really meant to, like, go for scrappy, spread out fights, so that's the real test for them, assuming they can sort of, like, stop the bleeding for now, which, again, is going to be really difficult because Wunder's just taking over whatever lane he goes into, and Odoamne's going to have to wait a long time before that TP does return. I do think they have the ability, on an equal footing, to actually have the superior 5v5.
I mean, I think at the end of the day, it's just about can you kill Wunder, because that's 2,500 of their 3,000 gold lead is in the back pocket of Wunder. Now, Jankos has been locked up. The chain CC is there. Can get pulled back by Kalista. Is going to go under the ground. Can now get immediately pulled back again. But Wunder's actually put himself in harm's way. He's now trying to make his way out to safety. Innaxe throwing down a bit of damage on the Ziggs, but he's going to be in trouble because PERKZ right onto the backside. They managed to take him out. Odoamne now on a killing spree from not being able to farm to find him. Plenty of kills down here on the bottom side. Double kill going through for PERKZ. And Abbedagge, though, now on the chase. Mikyx has to give his life for this one. And Gilius on a killing spree as well. Ender, it well and truly might just be the day of upsets.
Wait, it's actually an even fight right there. Like, Schalke are getting down and dirty and they're making it happen. They've got good scaling picks. I like what I'm seeing so far. In all honesty, still down in gold here, but the more time they can build for Abbedagge to, you know, get beefy for Odoamne to stack the call, you know, it's just going to get better and better.
I might be jumping the gun a bit, but I'm just impressed. I think so many teams would roll over and die when their top laner is as far down as Odoamne was, but credit to him, credit to Schalke for finding fight after fight, for punishing Wunder for kind of not being completely isolated. Obviously, Jankos was there as well, but finding the shutdowns onto Kalista, still a massive gold lead individually, as you said earlier, still cannot be matched in a 1v1, but in these team fight scenarios, Schalke are matching G2 at least.
Yeah, in this fight, at the start, like, Dreams does a really good job, because he's the one that, of course, picks up Jankos, and then also uses his stopwatch to survive that initial burst, leading to the kill going down over. Unfortunately, he couldn't get his ultimate down on towards Wunder right away, but even then, it's still 2 quick kills going over in the favor of Schalke. And then, as soon as PERKZ has to flash over the wall to chase down Innaxe, now all of a sudden he, the next person with like the most money in his pocket, the strongest player on G2 that's still alive, is isolated from this fight, and Mikyx gets stuck inside his own jungle.
And credit to PERKZ, now 3-1-1. Wasn't the hugest participant in some of those early exchanges. It was a lot of focus around the top side of the map, but making his presence known in that last fight. And now we check in on the top side of the map. Not a whole lot's going to happen here, just a bit of a trade of vision, more time alone for Wunder on the top side. CS lead remaining very large, 60 in his favor as the Blade of the Rune King is just about completed. Will be even harder to lock down, and I've never seen a game so much about landing a single skill shot on a single champion, but it's pretty much just all about who can actually CC Wunder. And
yeah, it's going to be like Gilius trying to find some kind of an insect play. Maybe Abbedagge gets involved too. I would say, like, the nice thing about Schalke when we do look into these fights is, like, even if they can't lock down Wunder, Kalista's relatively short range as a champion, so if she's ever jumping forward and hitting someone that's not Nautilus, she's going to have to go through, like the soldiers from Azir is, oh boy, we got to dive in the bot lane.
Ooh, knock back. The knockup's going to come through, but Abbedagge's just going to swoop his way out of that one. The burn Mikyx ult for it as well. And that is an AP Galio. He's building towards the Protobelt, so pretty big deal to lose out on that ultimate. But in the meantime, Kalista, of course, queen of objective control with this Rend, is just going to be able to grab the first strike for G2 Esports. Mountain going in their favor.
Yep, able to pick that one up. Meanwhile, Schalke a little bit slow on this rotation over, but Innaxe has so much damage.
Oh, Cass has to flash out. Snare's going to connect. Cass so very, very low. He's parting. He's ticking from the Ignite, and he's going to get taken down. Sniped over the wall. It's perfect from Innaxe, but it's not enough to save his life, as Jankos will grab one back in exchange.
Did Dreams just flash Ignite caps from over the wall right there to secure the kill? Because, like, damn, son!
Yo, between that hook in the last fight, and look, I respect Dreams immensely for a play like that. That's how you win fights. Now, in this case, it was an even fight, and he gave up his flash and his Ignite, but, like, whatever. You take
Yo, Schalke are taking the even fights right now, Draco. Let's watch this one more time. Innaxe able to pop the tower. Maybe would have liked to have his W to set up for the bomb damage, because Cap slashes away from that. But yeah, the flash Ignite, it's like the mini flash from Dreams 2 into Ignite. Doesn't even end up getting the kill, because Innaxe was able to pick that one up still. But hey, the effort is noted. We appreciate you.
I respect it. Still, 2k difference. Everything is really about the Kalista. Of course, PERKZ is quite strong and is only going to get scarier and scarier, especially for a lot of these, well, not a lot of these, the Ziggs specifically. The Ziggs has to be very scared. Innaxe has to be very scared about this Akali as we get later into the game, but good news is the Azir, the Jace have tools to get Akali away.
Yeah. That's sort of the thing, right? Is like, if Schalke are undisciplined in fights and allow a player like PERKZ coming in on a flank or a Jankos to split them up and like drive them away, all of a sudden the fight becomes so easy for G2. Because if Kalista only has to worry about like a couple targets, same thing for PERKZ, like the fight is easy. But the second Schalke are fighting in like a tight, you know, passage inside their jungle or something like that, and you have the zone control of Abbedagge's soldiers, the bombs on the ground from Innaxe too, and you can take fight slowly. Like, Schalke's comp is actually going to thrive in those situations, but again, they have to stop G2 from driving them apart and splitting up these fights.
But it is so difficult. When the Akali is so strong, when the Kalista has so much agency, the pressure is definitely on for Schalke, no fear. They've had a good showing so far. The difficulty is there's not really any major objectives for them to threaten around that could force G2 to come to them. So it is just going to be a vision game. It is going to be a bit of a stalled out game. It's only 19 minutes in. Baron will be up in 1 minute, but G2 really the only team that can consider Baron at this point in the game with the combination of the Kalista and the Senna. Should be easy to take it quickly and healthily.
Big news for Odoamne. The call has been completed, so even though they will likely lose their mid lane tower in this situation, the late game bet has paid off. Here we go, mid lane.
Big fight can be breaking out. Now Mikyx off to the backside, but he does manage to get the shield clutch coming in there. Now Gilius is the one locked up and immediately taken down. He overstays his welcome, and Innaxe not going to find the ulti there to close out the kill, but Abbedagge now pushing in off to the side. PERKZ goes into the shroud, dashes right back over. Mickey immediately into the backline, the fairy that they wanted. Jankos is there as well. Odoamne still alive, running for his life. There's Innaxe on the backside, but he doesn't have any mana. The Ziggs is out of mana. He cannot do the damage. He cannot close the fight, and Schalke absolutely getting blasted in the back half of your dreams. Tries to make the hero play, but it is simply too little, too late. Hold back there by the Kalista ultimate, and G2 will walk away.
G2 are on a rampage here. Caps between the towers as well, just trying to find something right there. They pounced. The second Gilius went down, and Schalke were still willing to commit in towards the fight. G2 just went flying across there. I think Jankos and PERKZ picked up some air miles with their ulti right there, because Innaxe, or Abbedagge rather, could not escape from that whatsoever. Just when it felt like Schalke were starting to gain some momentum, G2 just shut them straight down.
Innaxe? Alright, that was a little bit greedy there, a bit high risk play. Didn't expect PERKZ to be there, but Schalke moving right back on the map to get some vision down. However, you're completely right, Ender. I mean, we were kind of coming to a close on the gold lead. It was a 2k advantage for G2. They were very far ahead, but there were ways for Schalke to come back. But after a fight like that, things are going from bad to worse.
Yeah, it's a bit uncomfortable too, because Schalke are actually the ones forcing there. Dreams finds the initial pick onto Mikyx, but that's where they should have called it, right? They have a tower down that should zone G2 away, but Gilius goes in without the rest of the team. Then Abbedagge says, hey, I can pick off PERKZ, but with the Galio ultimate and the Shroud, PERKZ is able to then get away, and this means that now the fight does look super, super messy. Innaxe is in the back of the fight without any mana left whatsoever, so Schalke just fought in, I feel like, all of the wrong positions, going away from their towers into the jungle, overextending with individual players one by one, and just misreading the situation in terms of like how much damage they could actually deal onto an Akali.
And Schalke thus far have, always studied to fight on their terms, and then G2 have been able to keep it even. So when they start and they make mistakes, these one or two small individual mistakes, small individual decisions that don't pan out, instantly turn into a massively dominant team fight from G2 Esports. And now Baron is up. G2 can start to push their vision forward. They've broken mid lane. And if you're Abbedagge, if you're Innaxe, you are terrified of PERKZ.
You don't want to be caught in a side lane against PERKZ or Wunder in this game, but honestly, I think that Wunder could be well suited to not go bot lane, like hard commit for that towards the split push. The second G2 want to go for the Baron.
Yikes. Big damage. Abbedagge now in trouble. PERKZ gonna get kicked out. Gilius now trying to find the follow-up. The shield does go through. PERKZ with the fancy footwork, trying to make it over the wall, but it's not going to be enough. No, the dash to safety, the burn, the tick, and that's going to be it. At the end of the day, challenging smite, challenge accepted, and lost. PERKZ knocked out of that one.
Alright, Schalke are able to make it happen and shut down PERKZ. At the same time, though, Wunder is pushing bot side. Without a minion wave there is going to take a lot of damage before he heals it back up, because, of course, he does have those double lifesteal items. What I was trying to say before that pick went down was that with the Blade of the Ruined King plus Sanguine Blade especially, you can shred through Barons so quickly. Or towers, if, there's only one enemy nearby, because even if no one is near you, you still get that attack speed bonus, which is incredible for bursting down objectives.
Yeah, and you can see, while the damage isn't quite as oppressive as it was in the early game, Wunder, if left alone, can really decimate anyone. Gilius, very confident to dash forward, quite frankly. And Wunder kind of just playing on the edge, trying to force as much attention.
Wow!
But once again, Dreams lands the hook, but Mikyx's on the way in. I don't think they're going to be able to shred through Wunder. He's ticking down. The Ignite is not enough. And Mikyx, the front line that G2 need to keep Wunder safe. The entire team collapsing to try to make this one happen. And still, Schalke are playing on the edge. Schalke are taking risks. They're going to back off. Caps arriving. Their signal to retreat. Innaxe is here as well to clear the way, but G2 playing so well around the threat of engage.
Honestly, I really like how aggressively Dreams is looking for these hooks, right? Like, the last time it didn't pay off, but he is still going for them over and over, because you look at the team comp, it's really just Dreams, and then, like, Abbedagge or Gilius having an insane ultimate, but more often than not, it is just going to be Dreams with the ability to find these fights. So when he sees a Q, he is going to take it. And the hope is the rest of his team is in a position to be able to back him up for those moves.
And normally in a game like this, you look at the carries and you say, hey, their flash is incredibly important. You can win any fight where that flash isn't available. But in this game, you look at Dreams flash, you look at Dreams Hex flash, and you go, Schalke, this is your shot. That cooldown, that is your ticket to victory, because Dreams is not missing these hooks. He's finding Wunder every single time, and that's what they need.
They also need to reclaim vision inside of their jungle, because that is the thing. If they're able to hold on to vision in topside, and especially around the Baron buff, and stop G2 from trying to sneak that with a Kalista, like, you buy yourself the extra time, and it also means it's so much easier to walk in as a group, because the second you don't have full information, or you're getting pushed out in all of your 3 lanes, and you're having to spread across the map, and then, you know, cautiously huddle back together, that's when a team like G2 is going to be especially looking to pounce with a comp like this. So now that Wunder is in the topside river, I'm already expecting to see them start that up as soon as they possibly can, because, again, the itemization is there now for Wunder.
And the good news is Schalke have some defensive vision. Of course, Control Ward in the pit denies them anything too certain, but Gilius does spot out the initial Baron aggro coming in from the side of G2 Esports. But as we get later and later, the good news is Innaxe is getting stronger. The Death Cat completed the Luden's Echo as well, so the Minefield especially crucial against Kalista, one of the few zoning tools that might be able to keep her away if Innaxe is ever mispositioned. So I don't know. I still think that the teamfight potential from Schalke is there. However, single mistake around the pit just ends the game.
I would also say the biggest threat for Schalke in a teamfight probably isn't Wunder, it's probably PERKZ, and his ability to jump into the backline onto an Abbedagge or onto an Innaxe. Like, obviously Wunder is going to be a big deal, but he is not going to be the one that's ending your fight immediately by diving into your backline. That is where PERKZ is going to come into play, so I think Dreams needs to be really on point with how he peels for his backline, because PERKZ, Jankos, Mikyx are all going to be looking to use their ultimates to dive into the Schalke backline.
Yeah, it's just, this team fight seems so incredibly difficult to coordinate, because if you ignore the Kalista, she will kill people, but you can't ignore the Akali because she'll kill them much faster, so it's just, you have to play flawlessly, really, to avoid just instantly losing a fight to one of these champions. And Apps is only going to make it harder. Mikyx's only going to make it harder, because while they're not the main damage threats for this team, they have a lot of defensive tools that make it pretty impossible for Gilius to go for a reliable, insect, for Abbedagge to try to do something similar with the Azir. So, if I'm honest, it's just waiting to see if Schalke can execute. It feels like a button check, a skill test, a shot calling test here in the fights to come. And well, G2 are starting the test. They've started up the Baron, and now Schalke have to respond here. But G2 will back off, not going to take any risks.
Well, it's also, for Schalke, it's not about, like, they don't want to be the team that's initiating fights. It's just sometimes you have to, right? If you're getting split up across the map, if the enemy team is on an objective or has a Baron and is trying to end the game. So their entire game plan is try to, oh no, wait a second. Odoamne! Okay, it's gonna be alright. I was really worried about him for a second there.
But PERKZ came for the Shuriken flip over the wall, otherwise he was definitely dead.
Yeah. But Schalke's entire game plan is, like, limit the amount of situations where you are almost forced to start off a fight, right? That means have vision on Baron. That means poke them out, as much as you can. That means don't be, forced up without any vision inside your jungle where you have to face check. Because when they're the team that's initiating fights, that means that Dreams isn't there to peel PERKZ off of his backline. That means they have to play that much better to execute in the situations. Their ideal setup is forcing G2 to come into them, not allowing G2 to split push on them, not allowing G2 to pick up an objective like the Baron buff. If they can stop that from happening, they're going to look much, much better the later we go.
And I think it gets harder, though, because Dragon, their sole point is coming through for G2 now, as they cleared out that second Infernal. Triple Infernal buff plus Infernal Soul is going to be a lot more damage. Not that G2 particularly needed it, but Schalke kind of has to respect the Dragons, another place for G2 to be at any given moment, and they can't put all of their vision on both of the objectives. I just don't think they have enough.
Well, they just don't have mid control, right? If you can't actually have priority and that initial push on mid lane, well, then you can't actually take the paths where you can walk over and clear vision like Mikyx is doing right now. So you're always going to be playing without that much information, which means every single move you make has to be more cautious, has to be more calculated, and all of a sudden you have to commit multiple members to an area just to get vision that you wouldn't necessarily want to have, and that spreads your team very, very thin.
And what's crazy to me, Ender, is that how explosively this game started off for G2 Esports, I was starting to expect to see something similar to what we saw when it was the Pantheon Talia combo and Jankos was roaming around the map, and it was just these 20-minute games where G2 just murdered their opponent. But despite Wunder's lead, Schalke have done a really good job of coming back. Well, and you can see it in G2's play. That one's not going to work out, sadly. But you can see it in G2's play because they're playing with so much more respect for Schalke.
Yeah, I mean, it's a combination of respect, but it's also like, how do G2 force plays? Like, how do you initiate a team fight? It is really, really hard. As PERKZ in the bot lane.
Gonna take a bit of damage, but it's just gonna... Yeah, just walks away from that. Good damage coming from Odo, though. Still chasing, still threatening. Doesn't want PERKZ to be able to heal up too comfortably, and in the meantime, it's just gonna be the two-man Baron stack. Of course, a lot of lifesteal coming in from the side of Wunder. Nothing there for Jankos, but he's not too concerned. Can heal up off the Rek'Sai passive, and Schalke now starting to collapse as Caps and Mikyx will start to speed in. Mikyx needs to be the zone control. 3k getting lower. You should not be able to miss a smite with the Kalista there. The Ren's going to come through. The Baron has come through as well. Mikyx is going to be sacrificed here, but Gilius now on the backside. Wants to get the fight kicked off. Can't kick in. The flash comes through. Gilius has to kick him out to safety. Not the fight that Schalke needed. G2 already escaping with the Baron, but the shutdown now Kalista. It's a messy fight, and it's PERKZ on the back line, and Schalke are now set to be absolutely dissected, but they stay strong as 4, and they force PERKZ away. 2 members down, 3 members down on the side of G2.
Oh, it's such a good fight there from Schalke. Even though they end up giving the Baron, they're going to be able to lick their wounds and only sacrifice Gilius in the process. This is the opportunity where they can't quite push for a tower in the mid lane, aren't going to be able to pick up any more gold off of that play, but they take the Baron buff off of so many members, really limiting the power here, and especially taking off on Wunder. Now, watch this, because again, it is Dreams finding the pick there on to make it with a pretty nice layer of abilities coming through from Innaxe as well to get the slam dunk with the Mega Inferno Bomb, but then watch the play down here on towards Wunder, and watch Odo in particular. He cues onto Wunder, gets behind him, and then knocks him back in towards the rest of the team. Getting that kill made this fight so much easier, and when Schalke get together in a death ball like this, PERKZ really doesn't have great angles to come in and attack.
Just excellent play, as you said. Really, Gilius burning the initial flash coming out from Wunder, the follow-up there from Odoamne, knowing that cooldown was down. It's good coordination. Sadly, not enough to stop the Baron from going in the favor of G2, so Schalke still very much playing in the hole. They are in a deficit, almost 5k down up against G2. 58 seconds till that Infernal Dragon spawns. It will mean Infernal Soul for G2 if they can secure it. Schalke know where they need to fight, but at the same time, if they push for the Dragon, you could have Wunder on the top side pushing for an inhibitor or PERKZ. It's a very hard game to play out.
Oh, Schalke are so close to getting back into this one here. This is another fight that they're going to be forced to take, almost. Even with Jankos up on the top side of the map, like, Schalke are going to need to do something. Now, I kind of like this move out of Jankos, because I believe, no, he wasn't one of the players that was able to keep his Baron buff, so he will just be trying to get this shove and forcing Abbedagge to pick that one up before the Dragon does spawn. What this does, it means that G2 get full control down in this bot side jungle.
Ooh, Gilius, though. Getting singled out, getting caught out by PERKZ will get kicked back. Oh. Now it's the dash back to safety, but Odoamne with a beautiful knockback, not enough at the end. Odoamne now going to be taken out as well. Gilius overstaying is welcome, but no, Odoamne still alive. The shutdown coming through. Now it's Dreams on the backside getting shredded by Wunder. It's a messy fight. Schalke, they've been torn apart. They split up their team, and now it's Abbedagge and Innaxe versus the world. Odoamne out on a sliver of health, but Abbedagge is just next on the menu. He's going to dash out to safety, but now Schalke, they're going to have to give up some of their base.
Oh, that fight was all over the place, and that's exactly what G2 want. With the Baron buff too, Innaxe can't actually clear away these minions, so the inhibitor is going to fall, and G2 should be able to go back and pick up the Baron. Oh, maybe Wunder wants to go back in.
Wunder getting frisky. Odoamne going to try to find the knockback. He has just enough damage to survive. There's so many spears, but the Ren didn't happen. Now Jankos, though, it's Abbedagge. He's getting caught out. Innaxe is running out of mana rapidly, but it's a triple kill coming in for the Azir, and he dies, but it is absolutely worth.
It's a hero play right there from Abbedagge, right? Picks up the triple kill and also eliminates Jankos. Now Gilius is going to sprint immediately towards that Infernal Drake with Dreams closely behind him. But keep in mind, PERKZ has now respawned as well. So Schalke are going to have to act very quickly against this objective, or PERKZ is just going to wipe them up.
Teleport's now coming in. PERKZ and Caps zooming there. There's additional healing, additional protection for PERKZ. Not a ton of damage for Caps, just a lot of lethality at this stage. Gilius is going to break that one down and they buy themselves more time, but now PERKZ is hunting. Dreams is there as well. Innaxe the only source of damage, easy for the Akali to avoid, just zoning out with the ultimate. Gilius is going to get taken down. Innaxe now has to run for his life. Dreams in a similar situation, but Innaxe now the one in trouble. Caps, though, taking a lot of damage back. The auto, the Zonias, it's going to be enough, and now PERKZ is hunting them down left and right. Dreams just doesn't have anything left. He cannot keep his team alive. He tried so hard in that fight, but G2 come out on top.
G2 might be able to push straight down mid lane too. You can already see Wunder teleported into that mid wave. Abbedagge and Odoamne are furiously trying to clear those minions away, and I think they will be able to get it in time. So the game does extend, but honestly, we're looking at a second inhibitor going down inside of that bottom lane, and probably one more fight for G2 to try and close this one out.
And just remember, at any moment, if one of these Schalke members dies, the game probably ends. There's so much pressure on Odoamne and Abbedagge right now. Innaxe will be up in 20 seconds. Gilius not too far off. As you said, one tower for now. Let's see if Schalke can push G2 back or if they're going to try to force for more. Protobelt forward from Mikyx. Now walk away. A lot of damage present on the Schalke side. Can not afford to miss position as G2 look ready to end this one. They're pushing in. Wow. They've got the wave there as well. Wunder's just shredding through that tower. Big Zigzalt now coming in. A lot of damage there on Caps. Caps has been caught out. Caps isolated. Caps taken down. Odoamne finding the kill in the end. Gilius goes to the backside, but he gets knocked up. The kick is denied. He only manages to knock Jankos away from the fight as PERKZ dashes in and dashes right back out. Rest of G2 now on the retreat. Just testing. Just trying to find weaknesses into Schalke, but Schalke know this is their chance. Maybe they can find a fight win here. Cannot afford to split. Odoamne playing with fire, but he will back off.
It's just so hard for Schalke to chase people down after the fight, unless Dreams in range of them. They're able to hold on for a little bit longer. And honestly, it would be hard to ask for two better champions to sort of hold the line at your Nexus than the Azir and the Ziggs. We'll see this fight one more time because Caps goes nuts at the start of this one. He flashes forward to auto attack and look for a W on towards Abbedagge, which doesn't quite connect. And then it is this huge Inferno Bomb that nukes Caps, and Dreams flashing forward one more time to pick him off. But the fight gets interrupted with some nice CC there from Mikyx to stop the insect play from Gilius, because if Gilius gets that one off, I think that's just a hard one fight.
PERKZ now coming on the backside. He's just shredding through the entire team. The Galleon's coming in too, and they've decided the game is over. Schalke, you do not get to play any more League of Legends, because now G2 is angry, and they're looking to end the game just like that. It was back and forth. Schalke had hopes. Schalke had dreams, but no longer. G2 are looking to end.
G2 on a rampage right there, zooming with the TP buffs off of that play. G2 done playing with their food. They want to close this one out.
258 days since G2 last beat Schalke, and it looks like that's the highest the number's ever going to get, because Gilius gets taken out and G2 walk right into the base, looking to hold on to sole control of first place with a win over Schalke No Fear.
Good stuff there from G2. I mean, it got a little hairy in that mid game, right? Weren't quite sure how to close that one out, but just watching PERKZ in some of these team fights is a beautiful, beautiful thing, because like, he just made Schalke feel so bad about every decision they made, constantly jumping forward to find the picks.
And let's be honest, Christy, when we prepped for this game, we were like, this is probably, like, Schalke has been getting better. Don't get me wrong, Schalke are looking better and better, but nobody is touching G2 right now. G2 is 20-minute, 25 minutes games every single game, but Schalke changed that. That was an incredible performance from this team, and while, yes, they are not going to make playoffs this time around, I'm ready to see what this team can do coming into Summer Split.
Yeah, I mean, this was one of those teams where it felt like they started the season 4 or 5 weeks later than everyone else, right? They couldn't quite figure out the roster they wanted to go with, and then once they did, they started taking some good wins, and I think it was a constant improvement towards the end of the season. I think they have a lot to be proud of with the changes they made and how they have improved towards the end.
But at the end of the day, G2 still clearly the superior team. Your key player of the game at LEC on Twitter is the place to vote. You can pick between Wunder, Jankos, or PERKZ, that G2 top side of the map. We're going to go away for a quick break, but when we come back, more LEC content that you love to see.
charged up. Hello, everybody. Let the game begin.